In recent developments, Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued a stark warning regarding the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Moscow has signaled that it could target countries supplying weapons to Ukraine. This announcement comes amidst heightened tensions and a complex geopolitical landscape. In a recent statement, President Putin emphasized that Russia perceives the provision of weapons to Ukraine by foreign countries as a direct threat to its national security. He cautioned that these countries could become targets if they continue to support Ukraine militarily. Putin said, "We are closely monitoring the flow of weapons into Ukraine. Countries that contribute to this process should understand that they could be considered legitimate targets. We are determined to protect our national interests and ensure the security of the Russian Federation." Putin didn't specify where such arms might be sent. The U.S. has said that Russia has turned to North Korea, Iran, and Belarus to beef up its stock of relatively simple weapons. But Moscow could dip into its stock of high-tech missiles to share with adversaries of the West if Putin decides to fulfill his threat. In response to this, the U.S. could deploy more nuclear weapons on its border to deter adversaries, Biden aide says. And top National Security Council arms control official made his comments in a speech on a more competitive approach to arms control that outlined a policy shift aimed at pressing Moscow and Beijing to reverse rejections of U.S. calls for arsenal limitation talks. Putin also mentioned that he currently sees no immediate threat that would necessitate the use of nuclear weapons. However, he reiterated that Russia could consider arming its own allies, potentially those hostiles to Western interests, in response to the Western military support for Ukraine. Experts said that Putin's comments reflect a broader strategy to dissuade Western countries from further involvement in Ukraine. By suggesting that Russia could target weapons suppliers and arm hostile nations, he aims to create a deterrent effect. It's a high-stakes game of geopolitical chess. The situation remains fluid, with diplomatic channels working tirelessly to manage the tensions. Meanwhile, the conflict on the ground in Ukraine continues, with both sides enduring significant losses. On the ground, the conflict shows no signs of abating. The Ukrainian military, bolstered by Western-supplied weapons, continues to resist Russian advances. Civilians bear the brunt of the violence, with many regions facing severe humanitarian crises. Thank you for joining us, and please subscribe to the channel.